Storm, earth, and fire, heed my call.
What's up everyone, it's Waves and today I got a new M+ commentary for you guys. It's a 21 Spires and it was in the fortified week, Grievous and Spiteful, so the current week that we have right now. When I joined the group I saw that we were playing Survival Hunter with Enhanced Shaman and Windwalker, so pretty interesting comp. Never seen it played together like this before, so definitely was an interesting key. And I would just say we jump right into it. There's a lot of stuff that I can tell you about in this key. It was a very, very clean key. I would say this season from me and also the group, probably the cleanest key that I've seen so far. So I would just say we jump right in. Right before we insert the key, obviously I use my wolves to get some more mates from weapon stacks. As always, same thing. We're gonna play a big pull in the beginning. I'm supposed to do Goliath interrupts because Shaman is the only class that can solo interrupt Goliaths. And I'm playing pretty much typical like Doomwinds build, but I'm playing Hailstorm. I'm not playing Chill to the Core though, so just typical Doomwinds with Hailstorm. I'm playing a lot of Mastery, but I'm gonna get to that in just a second. So first pull we use Bloodlust, I use all of my cooldowns. I interrupt the Goliath. You can see we have a Windwalker in the group, so damage will never be a problem. I actually don't cleave as much, so I sacrifice a little bit of like overall AoE damage and funnel everything into the Goliath just to make sure that everything dies at the same time, because you may know that Goliaths have more HP than the other mobs in the group, so I just funneled completely into the Goliath. On this first one, Mender, whenever it uses Imbue Weapon, right here you can see the cast and it gets this buff. As a Shaman you can purge that, and then once I purge it, you can see I purge it right now, and then it drops its weapon on the ground, right? And you can pick it up and it deals a ton of damage, so that's always something that I can recommend doing. Okay, as I said earlier, I'm playing Hailstorm and I'm also playing Mastery, not like full-on Mastery. I have a lot of haste, and then afterwards I went for like crit, Mastery and Versa combination, right? But I try to make sure that Mastery is above crit. And the reason for that is because I'm gonna play double Champions Brand to just push that Mastery value as high as possible to make my Frost Shocks with Hailstorm do as much damage as possible basically. And then I can just use the typical Doomwinds build to have like the single target damage and AoE damage during Doomwinds, and outside of Doomwinds just have those huge Frost Shocks just carry my damage basically. So yeah, we pretty much just finished the first, like the beginning of the dungeon, the entry here, pretty quickly, and now we use the Angel to get to the other side. I'm actually using Mastery buff food in this key because it was so close for like crit being higher than Mastery. And by the way, this is about the value, like the total value of the stat and not the percentage. If you want to make sure that you have more Mastery than crit, don't go after percentage, but actually like pay attention to the total value of it. That's really important, which means that if I happen to die in this key or in any key and I lose my food buff, I will have Mastery instead of, I will have crit, sorry, instead of Mastery. And it's not only about like picking the power. Like if I pick the power while having more Mastery and it gives me Mastery and I die and I lose my food buff, so my crit is technically below my, my Mastery is technically below my crit, then it will give me crit instead. So I always gotta make sure that if I die in a key and I lose my Mastery food buff, that I get another food buff again, so that it actually gives me Mastery. Because we want these high percentages of Mastery to make Frost Shock do as much damage as it can, basically. Because it works perfectly in the downtime of Doomwinds. That's why we're playing it like this. And yeah, so here we have the first Goliath, Lieutenant that we're killing here. And you can see outside of cooldowns, we're not doing as much damage. No one is in the group. I mean, especially the Monk. The Monk big pumping on packs for sure. But if he's not using cooldowns and if it's just a single enemy, then the Monk is definitely not doing as much. You could just see it. I had 61% Mastery after picking the first Champions Brand. 61% already like a pretty high amount. So you can definitely see the value that comes out of this, right? Because it's basically a one-to-one transition. Like 61% Mastery means that your Frost Shocks deal 61% more damage, and that's just a lot of damage, right? So we definitely want to make sure that if we play double Champions Brand that we get that Mastery bonus. If we play Hailstorm, obviously that is. If we don't play Hailstorm, then it's not as important. Then I think actually crit would be better for you. So here again, Goliath, I'm doing the Goliath. Actually, the warrior took my kick there, but it's fine. trying to cleave down all of that stuff. By the way, with the shades, there's a thing that the Spiteful Shades, their melee range is lower than yours, or like shorter than yours. So if you're very careful, you can hit the shades while they can't hit you. Just if that's like a situation that will ever be necessary for you. Now first boss, timed it perfectly. I have my Ascendance back, I have my Wolves back, and I got my Doomwinds back right now. So we're gonna pull it. We don't have Bloodlust, but it's fortified, so the boss should not be a big problem. I use everything here, all of my cooldowns, and we just start cleaving them down. 2 target cleave, very good for Enhance. We can get a lot of damage out of that. You can see Holy Paladin with Ashen. I mean, nothing new. Holy Paladin with Ashen is just blasting. And for this fight, it's mostly just trying to get as much cleave in as possible until like one of them leaves and starts flying up in the air, just as we can see right now. And for now, it's just trying to stay behind the dragon so you don't get hit by the barrage. And whenever the guy in the air like throws the spear, dodge it. And that's pretty much all there is to it. When he flies close to the one that is on the ground, by the way, you can use Chain Lightning and it will jump up to him and reset your Crash Lightning cooldown. So that's just a little bit of something that you can make use of. And yeah, then it's already down to like 40%. You can see the Monk not doing as much damage. As I said, the Monk is just here to do like the big overall damage, to blast on packs, to just completely destroy the trash. And then, I mean, technically the Survival Hunter kind of as well, I would say. But I would say that the Survival Hunter is a little bit better balanced in terms of like single target compared to AoE damage. Same as me. Like Enhancement is very versatile in my opinion in terms of like when we can deal damage. Even if I play Hailstorm, I have a shit ton of single target damage, even though it's technically my AoE build because we're playing Fortified, right? So I would say that Enhancement is very good for like every situation, I would say. And apparently, as I said, I've not played with that many Survival Hunters yet. Apparently Survival Hunter works kind of in the same way. So yeah, definitely a good composition that we have here. We will see throughout the dungeon just how good this combo works, because I was a little bit skeptical, not gonna lie. I got invited, I entered the key, or like the group and the dungeon, and then the Survival Hunter said, meme team, let's go. So I mean, yeah, he fully embraces it, which is fine. It was definitely interesting, like playing this comp for once, because I haven't done that yet. The tank is lining there, very good to get the skirmishers back together after they jump back, so that we can cleave them all down together and they can't just spam the hurls on us all the time, which is very good. Yeah, I had to delay my damage there a little bit, but it's perfectly fine. By the way, I'm thinking about like adding a third details window for my commentaries for M+, because in this one I removed the healing done and put damage done overall, because I think that's what's more interesting for most of my viewers. But I'm thinking about adding like a third one on top that is about healing done. So we have healing done, damage done, and damage done overall. And then with those 3, I think that we should have everything that people would be interested in. But for now, for this key, it's just damage and damage done overall. The tank already pulled the next pack here. And I don't have anything ready for this one because I used cooldowns on the one before that. I'm saving Ascendance for the pack on the other side when we go back in just a second with all the cats and like the one whatever it's called that's standing next to it. So we're probably gonna pull all of them together. That's what I'm holding Ascendance for, to get that big initial AoE damage, and then just do the most damage that I can do there. As you can see, I'm holding Doomwinds, not worth using it here. Even though we have some spites left, and we even get another one, but still, obviously it's not worth it using something here. They actually already leave. I just flame shock it to let it tick down from basically just dots, and then we go over. Not worth me mounting up. Oh, actually I am mounting up now. Was a little bit unnecessary because I already soul shaped over. So yeah, the Predator, we get that in. Actually, Praetor is what it's called. And then we use Ascendance, we use Doomwinds, we use everything. We get a big Sunder in, 30k DPS. Obviously, we can't reach the damage numbers that like Windwalker monks are doing. Like, I can't do 64k DPS on just a normal pack like this. I don't have dance procs, that's not how Enhance works, but yeah, you can just see the Windwalker destroying everything. But But yeah, I would say that the Survival Hunter and me were both definitely pretty consistent with our damage, which is nice. We're definitely not completely slacking behind or anything. Like, you don't have to be demotivated if you're playing a key with a Windwalker monk and you can't reach the numbers that the Windwalker's doing. Like, Windwalker's just broken this season with procs and shit, so yeah. Don't like overly compare yourself to a Windwalker. You can't reach those numbers. That's just impossible. But it's nice to have Windwalkers, like, don't get me wrong. Like, we, with Wind Fury Totem, we buffed them. They are an insanely versatile spec. They have a lot of damage. They have a ton of utility. Like, they have leg sweep, in-cap, ring, like, so many things. It's actually pretty cool to have one in the group. We will see at the end of the dungeon how the overall is looking like. If we can catch up to him, if we can even get close to him, maybe beat him, who knows. We will see how that goes towards the end, because even though they have a ton, like a shit ton of AoE damage, doesn't mean that they have everything, like damage in every situation. Here the tank tells me to interrupt cross, so that's what I'm gonna do, obviously. The first one, actually, the monk steals from me, so I'm just gonna hold it. I think, if I know that correctly, I think the tank and the healer were pre-made. The other two weren't. Just to keep that in mind. I think every DPS player was just a random, and then the tank and the healer were the two player pre-made. Here I will get Doom Winds back in a second, and because Goliaths, as I said, they have so much HP, I'm actually gonna use that Doom Winds as soon as I get my Crash ready. I'm gonna chain here, probably into another Frost Shock, yes, and now I'm gonna drop Doom Winds to be able to instantly crash again here, and just make sure that we cleave all of those down, get the Goliaths down, and yeah, that's definitely a good usage of cooldowns here, to get them on cooldown and get them ready again as soon as possible, pretty much. The more keys that I play this season, the more I shift towards not caring as much about overall, but just using my shit pretty much on cooldown. Like, obviously you don't want to waste it, right? If there's an enemy at like 20% HP, like a single one, you don't want to just use your Doom Winds just because it came up again, and to just get it in cooldown, that would be wasted, right? But as long as you know that you're gonna decrease the time that it takes you to kill a pack with your Doom Winds while still getting full value out of the Doom Winds, and you're not just completely wasting it, then I would just say use it, right? Even though you know, okay, there's a pack coming up that has 4 enemies instead of the one that we're fighting right now that has 2 enemies, might as well just send it, because other people probably won't use anything there. Kill the pack quicker, get to the next pack, they can use cooldowns there, done deal, right? Everything just works quicker that way. So yeah, like, especially on lieutenants. Sometimes on lieutenants people just won't use any cooldowns, and I'm just willing to just throw my cooldowns onto them, because it just saves so much time, especially when people play like AoE heavy talents. Then they are lacking single target, and if they don't want to use cooldowns then in single target because they want to pad on big packs, then I'm just gonna do it. So we kill the lieutenant quicker and get to the pack where they can blast quicker, basically. And yeah, like on this one, you can see I had Wolves and Ascendance, but I only used Doom Winds. But that's because I know that the next pack we're gonna pull a double pack with the spear, and then I need all of my cooldowns ready to just Giga Blast it. It's actually kind of sketchy if you use Doom Winds on this pack before that, because if your Doom Winds doesn't get ready for the spear, then everything else is wasted, right? Because you always want to pair your Wolves and your Ascendants with Doom Winds. And if I couldn't do that, then it would be wasted. But I still use Doom Winds on this pack because A, I knew that if I didn't, it would take ages to kill it, and B, even though I do, it's a 21 fortified, so it would take a while, right? And then we also have Shades afterwards that we have to kill. So I just figured, okay, it might work out with like a minute for this pack and then getting ready for the spear pack. So my Doom Winds isn't quite ready, but you can see that we still have to wait for the pack with the birds or whatever they are called, the Ether divers. So we just waited for them. Now we're pulling them. I'm using a potion here even. Wolves, Doom Winds, a Crash, Ascendance, and now we just full send it. 60k DPS. We have a Sunder, 73k DPS. I mean, apparently I can do 70k DPS, just not like the Monk on just a random pack. I actually have to use a spear for it. But I still think that 73k burst as an Enhanced Shaman isn't that bad. I don't know, I think I could have played it a little bit different. Probably like one less wind strike before my Sunder. Maybe then the burst would have been even a little bit higher. who knows, but 73k definitely not bad. And we cleave down that pack perfectly, very quickly. And yeah, still no deaths so far. We've played insanely clean. My cooldown management has been very clean. And yeah, that's pretty much just all going according to plan. I can always just like try to emphasize how important it is to pre-plan what you're gonna do, right? Like right here, I definitely know that I will use Doom Winds again. I will use it right here, exactly, because these two enemies, they have a bunch of health, right? And because we A, have to kill them, B, have to fly over to the next platform then, and C, the pack that we have to play on the next platform then, that will live for a while, right? I will definitely get my Doom Winds back. Even though I don't have it in the beginning, I will definitely get it back while we're fighting the pack. And then we also have Spiteful Shades that delay us going over to the next platform anyways, because you can't use the Angel while you're in combat. So we still have to kill these Shades. And you can already see my Doom Winds is back in 25 seconds. We still have to walk there. We have to fly over. We have to actually pull. And then my Doom Winds is basically going to be ready again. And my Wolves as well, as you can see here. And the thing is, if I approach this pack right here, I know that it's going to take a while. But I'm already thinking about, okay, what are we going to play next? Are we going to play the boss next? Or are we going to play the Lieutenant next? And yeah, that's why you always want to think around that, right? I see that I will definitely have my Ascendance back. And if we play the Lieutenant first, like before the boss, then I will also have my Wolves back if I use them here, right? So I'm using my Wolves here, I'm using Doom Winds, I'm using Crash, everything. We try to funnel everything into the squad leader as fast as possible to get him down. And now we can just try to finish off the rest of the pack. You can see all of us doing insane amounts of damage. Survival Hunter and me both doing 18k. The Monk doing 16k, which is exactly what we want to see, right? Even though it's nice seeing one person just like carrying the DPS, it's always nice to see that everyone is carrying their weight and that we all are capable of playing our spec to the maximum basically and get all the damage out of our character that we can. So it's always nice to see when everyone in the group is performing well. And yeah, you can see we killed a pack here. And exactly as I said, Ascendance is going to be ready and Doom Winds is going to be ready for whatever we're going to pull now. I thought we were going to do the Lieutenant and then my Wolves would have been back again. I could have used the Doom Winds and then everything would have been ready for the boss. But apparently they wanted to skip the Lieutenant, which I didn't know because, as I said, this is a pack group, right? So I wasn't in voice comms or anything with these people. So I'm just going to use Ascendance and Doom Winds here. We're not going to use Wolves. The Hunter delayed Lust very long here. I don't know why he did that. I didn't want to use Bloodlust because, again, it wasn't my key and it was a pack group. And yeah, apparently the Hunter knew. Either it was the Hunter's key or the Hunter knew the pre-mate. I'm not 100% sure. But that's why he was doing the Bloodlust all the time with his pet. But yeah, he delayed it there a little bit. So it cost me a bunch of damage from my Ascendance. But it's fine, we still have enough damage. So yeah, definitely not too bad, even though it was a little bit annoying. Right here you can see one of the big problems that I have personally with Spires is camera angles. Camera management in Spires, it's a shit show. I don't even know what to say. Like in this room with all the things at the side that are like hanging down in the statues, and especially on the last boss platform, right, like up in the air, when there are like angels flying or like Kyrian people flying above the platform, and when your camera is zoomed out very far, then sometimes you just have your whole screen blocked by like a wing of a Kyrian dude, and I'm like, bro, like I can't see shit. How am I supposed to play the game? So that's definitely something that I really dislike about Spires. In general, I would say that Spires is like a key. That is definitely not my favorite key. Which is weird, because Spires is actually the first key that I timed on 21 this season. And I actually timed it on Tyrannical and on Fortified in 21 already this season. While some of the other keys I haven't even timed on 20 in both Tyrannical and Fortified yet. So, I don't know, Spires, apparently maybe I just got lucky with like good groups this season. Maybe it's just an easy key. I don't know. I don't know what's the issue with Spires this season, because I typically tend to dislike it, and this season I just happen to like it or have like good experience in it. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But you can see in the overall so far. I'm ahead of the Survival Hunter, and the Monk is just still completely crushing us. Necrolord as well, obviously, like Necro with Bone Dust Brew, Necro Windwalker. Probably the most damage that you can reach in the game right now is as a Necro Windwalker. So yeah, we actually don't double these in a lot of keys. They pull the Helion and the Lieutenant together. We're not doing that here because we don't want to risk it, because it's the healing reduce Lieutenant, and we have Grievous, and it's fortified, and it's a 21 key. So we decided to just play them on their own, which is why I use Doomwinds here, just to get the Helion down quicker. As I said earlier, single target, use cooldowns because everyone's playing for AoE. So just gotta do it, send it, and make sure that we kill that a little bit quicker. Now we have this guy, we have Ashen for it. So that should basically like carry the whole Lieutenant here if we have Ashen down. I'm not gonna do any damage now because I don't have Doomwinds. Once Doomwinds is ready again, I don't want to use it on this Lieutenant anymore because he's probably gonna be almost dead anyways. So you can see that the Monk and the Holy Paladin are just blasting this guy, and the Survival Hunter and especially me are just basically chilling a little bit. I do Fate Transfuse it, however, because Fate Transfusion is only really useful on single target, and there's not many situations where we get single target fights in this key, so I just thought I might just send it on this one. And yeah, this is where I get my second Champion's Brand. You can see I go up to 74% Mastery, 74% increased Fire, Nature and Frost damage. Actually very, very good. And now we go over here. Warrior leaps up, I wait for the in-cap from the Monk and the ring. The Warrior actually goes onto his mount to let me mount up. Otherwise I could have just jumped up the ledge, but this just made it a little bit easier. Now we mount up. You can, by the way, right here, I'm just gonna pause this for a second. If you didn't notice, you can walk in between this pack and this pack. You can just pass through here next to the pillar, and you won't aggro like any of them, right? You will just aggro the skirmishers that do the hurls, and then you just kite them behind this pillar, and then you can cleave them down all together. We skip the Lieutenant over here and just take the debuff into the last boss, which is not that big of a deal actually. We skipped two of them. We skipped this guy and the one in front of the second boss. So yeah, I just use my Nightfall Blink here to make sure that I don't get hit by hurls. If these hurls hit you, especially if you get multiple at once, you're one shot, especially on high fortified keys. So in a 21 that would 100% be a one shot here if I get multiple at once. Now we just cleave down the skirmishers and the Spires afterwards. Actually, I was a little bit slow with realizing what was going on here, because the tank already pulled the boss here. I thought we were gonna do the other side as well, but nope, he just instantly pulled the boss. Which is why I'm a little bit late with my Wolf's Doomwinds, which is kinda gonna bite me in the ass later in the fight, because if you pull this boss and you instantly, like right as you pull it, use your Doomwinds, then it will be ready for the first like recharge phase. And because I lost a couple of seconds here, I will also lose a couple of seconds into the recharge phase on my Doomwinds, which is obviously not good because we want to have it there. We want to have all the damage that we can have there. But we will see how I handle it in just a second. So yeah, I'm just gonna do all the damage that I can. We also want to stack the orbs as always. The one that gets a blast walks out of the group. I use my Fate Transfusion here. But that's just because I thought I would have Doomwinds ready, Doomwinds and Ascendance, for the recharge. But then he already started recharging here. So I should have used my Fate Transfusion right now to bridge the gap until I have Doomwinds again. I use my Ascendance early here to get 2 wind strikes before I can use Doomwinds, because Ascendance is up for a little bit longer than Doomwinds anyways, right? So I could just use it a little bit early. The Paladin dies here. That's not nice. But we will just battle rest him in a second. There we go, the Monk battle rest him, and he's up again, so not that big of a deal. We didn't lose that much there. And even though I used Doomwinds very late into the fight, I still got a good chunk of damage out of it. I was still on the top of the damage meter there after the recharge phase. We put our stuff there again, just try to stack it perfectly again, 30%. I already know that we will not get a second damage phase. So as soon as my Wolves and my Doomwinds is ready again, I'm just gonna send it. There's no way of there's no reason for holding it until the next damage phase, because as I said, we are not gonna get one. So we play the blast again, always just step out of the group, while the others just stay on boss. We stick them together, stack them on the ground, walk out of it, and now I got my wolves, place my doom winds in a second, there we go. And now we just send some more storm strikes, maybe catch up a little bit to the survival hunter, and you can see his energy is still at like 15, so we're still quite a bit away from the next recharge phase. So yeah, we're definitely not gonna get that. The last Purifying Blast on me, everyone dodges it, perfect. 9k damage, Hunter is still doing 9.3, and there we go, it's dead. I top myself here with a quick healing surge. Now we play the skirmishers to the right. Yeah, the warriors just blinking over and grabbing all of them. We get them together here and just cleave them down, and that's gonna be all the trash that we need in the dungeon. Then we can go upstairs, kill the 3 instead in front of the last boss. And yeah, so far, other than like the death of the paladin on that fight, I would say it's legit perfect. We played everything so clean, no issues, no close calls. For me, my cooldown management was perfect so far. The packs that we pulled, we completely deleted them. Everyone is doing their job, everyone is doing a lot of damage. And now we will just fly upstairs and pretty much see how the end of the dungeon goes. We're getting closer and closer to the Windwalker in terms of overall damage, but that's just because all of the like huge packs where the Windwalker can just go completely crazy and destroy them, they are over. Now we have like smaller packs, we have more bosses, stuff like that, right? Especially now in front of the last boss, we have 3 enemies that are just single target fights that have a ton of HP, and then we have the last boss. So the Windwalker definitely not gonna do as much damage as we're used to from him, but we will see how it's gonna go. And there we go, we pull the first one. I will use Doom Winds here. On these you definitely don't want to hold your cooldowns. You can always just use them, because compared to these, especially the second and the third one that you're playing, the last boss is just irrelevant, right? Like the last boss fight is so long that you will get cooldowns in there anyways. So it's much safer, especially on fortified high keys, that you just use your cooldowns on these, because these are way more dangerous than the last boss is. So on first one I use Doom Winds. Doom Winds will be perfectly ready for the second one. You kind of just have to get used to timings. You kind of have to be good at like expecting how much damage your group will do on packs and how long packs will take to plan your cooldowns ahead. But even if it's like my Doom Winds is ready in 5 seconds, right? That's perfectly fine, right? As long as it's not like in 20 seconds, as long as you have like that kind of sense of predicting cooldowns, then it's gonna be perfectly fine. I'm gonna use everything here on the second one. I'm gonna use Wolves, Ascendance, Doom Winds. I'm just gonna use it all, because I know that for the last one we will have Bloodlust and Spear, and I will have Doom Winds, and combine that with the cooldowns from the other people. We will use Ashen, we will have probably Suen, Images, Bone Dust Brew, and whatever Survival Hunter has, like Coordinated Assault or some shit, whatever they play. I'm actually not that experienced with Survival Hunters. We will definitely have enough damage to kill the third one, so that is why I used all of my cooldowns here, and using them here also makes it to where I have a higher chance to get more usages out of the cooldowns within the dungeon, that being on the last boss in that case. So yeah, we killed the second one here, again no deaths, everything played perfect, and now we go over to Clotus, which is the last one, and as you can see we get the Misdirect, we get Bloodlust, I use my Doom Winds, we get the Spear down, and everyone just starts pumping. I'm not having that many procs, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's perfectly fine. It's already down to 40% once the Spear stops lasting, and you can see everyone is blasting. 13k from the Holy Paladin with Ashen and Bloodlust in combination. It's just insane, and you can see exactly as I said, even though I don't have more cooldowns than Doom Winds for this pack, it's already dead, so it wasn't even a big problem. And now we have 11 minutes left for the last boss. Again, still very, very clean. And now for this one, you can see I turned the camera. There was a red mark, you could see, in the middle. Back of the room in the middle, there's a red mark. We always want to bait the charge through exactly on that spot. which makes the fight a lot easier. And you can see how we play this. We have the slow from the Lieutenant, and we have the physical damage increase from the Lieutenant. We always stack together exactly here. We walk to the side for the run through, and that way we don't lose a lot of uptime because he just charges into the wall all the time. And we can always be within the bubble right there, right, for the detonation. So that is what we want to do. We always want to stand there. With the debuffs, we just walk to the side a little bit, so we keep the middle basically clean, as you can see, so we can just still bait the charge exactly there. And as you can see, I left a gap in the middle, right as I said it. Now, watch this, by the way. I know everyone loves Chain Harvest, and Chain Harvest is insane for topping the group. But there are moments, if you time it properly, that you can do that with Fate Transfusion as well. You can see the Abyssal Detonation, he's casting it, or she. And I just used my Fate Transfusion, fully channeled, full damage done. And now watch the group, and as soon as the detonation goes off, I'm gonna use my Fate Transfuse heal, while everyone is in melee range of me, and you can just see how much healing I'm gonna do. Watch closely. There's the damage, and I top the group instantly. Just like that, instantly. So you can definitely see Fate Transfusion if you use it properly. There's a lot of value in that as well. I still don't like it as much as Chain Harvest. Chain Harvest would have probably done the same thing. You just have to do the damage prior to it with Fate Transfusion and then plan for the healing. Also, positioning is a little bit more important for the healing of Fate Transfusion compared to Chain Harvest. But it can definitely be a very useful tool. So now we collect the orbs here. I always take the right one because the group was already like sort of like moving to the left, so I just went to the right side and grabbed that one. We throw the spear, second phase starts, and again we just pull the boss right back to the mark here. We stack all together as in the first phase. I use my Ascendance and Doom Winds here, not using my Wolves because they are not ready. I will get them on the next rotation of Doom Winds. As I said in so many commentaries before, you never want to use Ascendance or Wolves without Doom Winds. However, you can use Doom Winds without the other. So that's pretty much the thing that you always want to keep in mind. And yeah, with all those cooldowns, and because it's fortified, not tyrannical, it's almost down to the next intermission. That charge was a little bit too far to the side in terms of the bait, but it's still perfectly fine. The damage that's coming in is quite a lot here, even though it's fortified, but we have no trouble healing it. I even use my wall here just to make it a little bit easier for the Holy Paladin to get rid of my Grievous. And now we phase him into the last phase. And you can squeeze some more damage into the boss here, like before he actually phases. Again, I'm going to the right, Paladin as well, we're grabbing the orbs. Have my Soul Shape back, blink back, hand it in, dodge the things on the ground, just play it safe, play it clean. And then we have the spear, he's shooting, and there we go, there's the boss, 17%. And we still have like 8 minutes left. So I use my last Wolf's Doom Winds here. Just gonna use some Storm Strikes. You can see the procs are coming in. 3 Storm Strikes, 4 Storm Strikes, 5 Storm Strikes, 6 Storm Strikes, and the Sunder and the Crash, and then we just ended on a Fate Transfusion. Maybe, yeah, 1 more Storm Strike, and then the boss just dies to that. Was a very clean key. No mistakes, as far as I know, no mistakes on my end. No deaths. There was only 1 death in the whole dungeon. That was the Paladin. Everyone played clean. You can see the overall, you can see my damage breakdown. Overall 9.9k, close to the Windwalker of 11.5 I would say, not too far behind obviously, it's hard to catch a Windwalker. Survival Hunter with 9.3, Warrior, Prod Warrior because of my Wind Fury totem doing 5.5k, he definitely benefits a lot from that. A lot of Wind Fury damage, a lot of Frost Shock damage because we're playing double Champions Brand. Spires not even a perfect dungeon for that because we get the second Champions Brand so late into the dungeon, so there are definitely dungeons where you benefit more from playing double Champions Brand, but it is what it is. It turned out really well. A lot of Storm Strike, Chain, Crash, everything. Breakdown as usual. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you could learn something about like cooldown management, playing Enhancement. Hopefully you keep interested or found interest in playing this spec. And if that's the case, make sure to check out my Twitch stream as well. I'm streaming enhanced content there, especially playing keys a lot on stream. So that could be interesting for you. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Take care and stay healthy, and I hope to see you guys in the next video or in a live stream. Peace.